Hello, everybody. Welcome back to another video. I'm hoping you guys are all having a fantastic day. Today's episode is going to be a short range forecast. I haven't done this for a while, even though I promised I would be doing these more and more often. I just didn't have the time to do it, and we have been busy with many other events like, the winter storms that have passed through and many different things, so I apologize for that. Before we get into this, if you'd like to support my channel, you could consider subscribing. It looks something like this, the button. I'm sure you all know how it looks like. All you need to do is click on it and you're subscribed, and it helps my channel grow. It's a great thing you can do, so thank you guys for that. So let's just move on with this. So, short range forecast. We are right now seeing a system in the northeast. So let's go to the regions and zoom in on the northeastern part of the United States. Ah, there was some talk earlier about a potential winter storm in the northeast. Now that has decreased significantly. You could see some mixing in the northeast. Some freezing rain, some sleet, some ice. Not necessarily a blizzard at all. A little bit of snow, mainly rain from many locations. This passes through. You could see maybe western portions of Massachusetts, southern portions of Vermont, New Hampshire, and Maine. We'll be seeing some snow. This evolves, I should say, into a major winter storm. But that's once it's already off into Canada and off into New Labrador and Funland. So not very good for the Northeast if you're a snow lover. In terms of snowfall amounts, let's quickly look at this. It shouldn't be that great. Maybe some locations up to 5 inches, I would say. I think the GFS is showing 8 right there and 7. I think that's a little bit overdone. And I think Maine 4 or 5 widespread is a little bit maybe overdone by itself as well. I do think, though, that 2 to 3, maybe 4 in some localized locations is a definite possibility. So let's zoom back out. Let's go back to continental United States. And let's see what anything else has to bring. Is there any other big storm? Is there any big rain system? Is there any big, snowstorm? So we already looked at this storm here in the northeast, bringing a little bit of rain. By the snow will be occurring in western Massachusetts tonight. I should have probably mentioned the timing and move on into Maine. That is into Tuesday and into tomorrow late night. And the rest of the country seems to be high and dry. That's the high pressures in charge and not allowing many storms to get into its way. Fucking and if we look at the northwest, we actually see quite a bit of moisture getting streamed into the Pacific Northwest, into British Columbia. So definitely snowfall totals over there will be great in the mountains, massive amounts. So let's zoom in on the northwest, since that is where the next, I guess, focus of the trying to find northwest. There we are. Should have seen that. And so again, we are right now. The storm is making landfall onto British Columbia and to the west, bringing rain to California, Oregon, and Washington. If you live in an area where it's, sometimes you see snow, sometimes you see rain, you'll be most likely seeing rain this time because it's warmer than average across much of the country, including the West. And the only locations that will be seeing the snow are the locations where they typically see snow this time of the year, and that's in the higher elevations. Some locations have winter storm warnings over there, and their amounts of snow can be as much as 50 to 60 inches of snow, which is just ridiculous. I mean, that is not something you would like in those lower elevation, major city populated areas like Seattle. If they got 60 inches of snow, that'd be definitely a bad thing. So don't worry about it. The snow is only in the higher elevations, and it seems to be starting at 3,000 feet in elevation and then moving up to 5,000 feet in elevation, the snow. That's what they said in a winter storm warning. So the higher up you go, the more snow there will be. It may start a little bit lower and then move up into the north. And then we get another storm. This is around Monday, 18 o'clock Z. So that is around 2 to 3 o'clock in the afternoon. This is December 17th. And we see heavy rain again pushing into the cold air in the mountains, bringing some fairly heavy snow. And then we get a fourth storm into Thursday and Friday, and that could set the stage for a big storm out here in the east, which I'll show you in just a bit. But first, let's look at total accumulated precipitation on this. And as we see that we see as much as maybe up to a foot of rain or I should say moisture, fallen precipitation in the mountains, which converted to snow. I will show you in just a minute, is around 150 inches of snow. But cities like Seattle, Oregon, or Seattle, Washington, Portland, Oregon, maybe seeing 2 to 4 inches of rain is a definite possibility. The further east you go, the lesser the amounts of rain are going to be. Let's quickly zoom in, or let's quickly go to total snowfall accumulations. And again, like I was saying that these amounts will be ridiculous. 135 right there, 54, that's a little bit lower. And I would not be surprised again if there's going to be snowfall accumulations of up to 200 inches of snow. It just sounds weird even coming out of my mouth. But again, the higher elevations here, that there's a winter storm warning for those areas. I think there's, again, 67 inches of snow expected to fall there. Not that much in the Colorado Rockies, and just, maybe up a couple of inches, but it would be nicer to see snow over there since they have been in a pretty big drought. The Northwest has been seeing quite a bit already this winter. And in the Grand Tetons, Yellowstone, also seeing maybe up to a foot of snow. So now let's zoom back out, or I should say go back in time, go to regions, and go to continental United States. Again, this is a short range forecast, so I'm not going to go beyond Friday, Saturday of this week. That's kind of already getting into the long range, but I wanted to include it this week. Wanted to include this storm, Thursday, Friday, because it's a major storm, and I didn't include it last time on my long range outlook. So you can see right there, there's the west getting hammered, but there's also a big storm coming up here. So it's one of these storms that makes its landfall tonight or into tomorrow and into Tuesday morning, and the moisture kind of spreads into the United States, or I should say spreads into the rest of the United States, into the eastern states, and then we start seeing the moisture getting gathered up from the Gulf of Mexico, this system trying to form its own wave. And then that one kind of dissipates over James Bay in Canada, but this one really starts acting up, and we see quite a feisty storm. Actually, we see quite a bit of rain on the eastern side. Actually, some severe thunderstorms possible in Florida, and then we see a very small strip of snow on the northwestern side, which could affect cities like Chicago and Milwaukee, Wisconsin. But again, will there be enough cold air to even form this band? We don't know. This could still grow and be a huge chunk of the storm be in the snow. But that just doesn't seem likely. The 540 line is just over there, and does not seem to be looking like there's just not enough support in the models and data to be showing a huge winter storm. Just a pre-Christmas storm. Wouldn't even call it a winter storm, but maybe some more snow on the backside. But it doesn't seem much snow at all, and you can see it's ends somewhere around December 24th, which is Christmas Eve. Let's go to total snowfall accumulations. Again, not much at all. The first wave over here is with that snow that's happening right now, and then you can see as much as 2 inches, which is not much at all, potentially with this storm that's occurring. Mainly a rain event. If we go to total accumulated precipitation, we actually see that there's as much as potentially 2 to 3 inches of rain, especially in these parts here in New York City, Connecticut. But this is combined with that system that is occurring right now. So let's zoom in on the southeast right once more and see the potential for the severe thunderstorms. Let's time that out, since many people live in the south and the southeast, and many people wanted me to focus more on that. So I will be doing so in this short range forecast. And let's go through this. So again, there's that one storm that has passed through going up to the north, and then we get a big quiet period. But again, around Thursday, late Wednesday into early Thursday, we start seeing these bands of rain coming in on shore. So I would say southern Georgia and the panhandle of Florida and the whole state of Florida is under the threat. It seems the most likely around 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock in the afternoon for Florida, and into the evening it doesn't seem much thunderstorms. The threat moves on into the Carolinas, but at this point, it seems like 18Z Thursday, that is around 2, 3 o'clock in the afternoon. And then for the Carolinas, this is around 7 o'clock in the evening. That moves up. And again, with that wraparound, we could get snow as far south as Alabama and northern Georgia. So we will have to watch this. But even if there is, snow that wraps around, this is not going to be major snow. Maybe an inch, maybe 2 inches up, especially further up north here in Michigan. But doesn't seem like a big event at all, guys. So that's a little bit unfortunate for the snow lovers at least. So let's go to the 2 meter temperature anomalies. 2 meter temperature anomalies tell us where it's going to be below or above average at what given time. And here's the date. And we know that it's above average in the red, and we know it's below average in the blue, marked by the key that is on the right hand side of the map. And we could see that right now most of the country is above average. Maybe a little bit of the parts of the south are below average, but that's not much cooler. That's maybe a couple degrees cooler, nothing major. And we start seeing that the Northeast may get a little bit cooler by midweek. That is because of this weak little band that makes its way from the north, and it's not really major. You can see that it gets quickly shrouded out by the insane colors of red and orange, which are indicating of 12, 16, 20, 28 degrees above average in some locations. So yes, this doesn't seem to be a December remembered by snow. Here is that little storm, not little storm, pretty large storm that we will be witnessing, and it's going to have quite a bit of cold air with it, not much behind it, just a little bit wrapped in with it. The storm, which could produce a little bit of that snow in those areas. But you can see the orange colors do persist. Northwest may be a little bit cooler with all those storms coming in. And then finally, maybe we could start breaking that pattern into January and February. Remember how I made that video yesterday about it, saying how around this time, around New Year's, maybe a little bit after a week or two, we could be going into a cold pattern. So let's go quickly to 2 meter temperature shaded if you're, eager and you want to see the actual temperatures. So you can see right there, we start seeing. I did go out a little bit further with these temperatures of the temperature anomalies. I showed you the whole forecasting period, but that's okay. With this, I'll just go out to Friday, and you can see during the nights, obviously below freezing, and then during the day, this frost or the freezing line goes up into Canada and to northern portions of the United States. And then and you can see right there when that Wednesday time frame where that little bit of cooler air comes into the Northeast, we could be looking at some chilly nights into the teens, single digits further up north, and by New York City, maybe 28, 20, 26, 27 degrees. And we don't see much cold air, maybe a little bit with that behind that system, but not much. Again, there's a pretty big chunk of cold air up to the north, but still fairly warm compared to what's usually typical for this time of the year. And then maybe a little bit cooler in the towards the end of the forecasting period. But that's into the long range. So hopefully you enjoyed. Hopefully you learned something new. And I will catch you all guys in the next episode. See ya. Bye.